Donald Trump is not going to stand for this. He's already canceled 85 contracts at the Department of Education, and Maxine's having a heart attack. Maxine Waters.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it. I didn't.
So the Department of Education is in for a rough ride. Maxine knows it. She was trying to get an appointment, you see, unscheduled, with Linda McMahon, who now runs the Department of Education. Because you see, Donald Trump, he's canceling contracts like this one. The Department of Education was given $8 million, how do you like this, to an NGO, which argued that America is a, quote, racialized structure of power, privilege, and oppression, and suggests that Republicans are violently fighting for the maintenance of white supremacy. It advises public schools in 13 states. Look at the little chart that they put out. Whiteness. That's the problem. It's a construct with historical, institutionalized, structural, emotional, psychic dimensions that are embedded in a radicalized structure of power, privilege, oppression, and exclusion. This is what they were force-feeding 13 states. They're the advisor for 13 states, and your money, my money, it went to them. I want it back. I want every single dollar back. You know what? I'm going to be the spoiled child here. I want the money back. Who were these crazies trying to take our country and take our kids with this nonsense, this gross distortion of reality? Donald Trump says these people are like thugs. It was nothing but a giant con job.
How soon do you want the Department of Education to be closed?
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job. We're ranked, so they rank the top 40 countries in the world. We're ranked number 40th. But we're ranked number one in one department, cost per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, but we're ranked number 40. We've been between 38 and 40. The last time I looked, it was 38, and then I looked 2 days ago, it came out the new list. It came out at number 40, so we're ranked 40. Norway, Denmark, Sweden, I hate to say it, China, as big as it is, it's ranked in the top 5, and that's a primary competitor. We're ranked number 40. So if we're ranked number 40, that means something's really wrong, right? And I say send it back to Iowa, to Idaho, to Colorado. Send it back to places that, and there are a lot of Indiana. You have a great new governor. You have a great senator that Jim Banks just got elected. You got great people. I'll tell you what, Indiana is going to be fantastic. We probably have 35, maybe 37 states that will do as well as Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. They'll be just as good. Then you have the ones that we all know about. It'll be the same story. But you know what? Even they will be good. Because you look at New York, you give it to Westchester County, you give it to Long Island, you give it to Nassau County, you give it to Suffolk County. Same thing you go out to, and you give it to upstate New York. So you'd have 4 or 5 sections. You give it to Manhattan. Manhattan's a little bit tougher for some reason. I don't know why it would be tougher, but it is. You give to California, and you go to various areas outside of Los Angeles, and you might have 6 or 7 different subgroups. But generally, like if you go to Iowa, you give it to Iowa. You don't have subgroups, you have Iowa.
Okay, so the idea is you give it to the states, all right? Like you don't have this federal bureaucracy where there's a lot of murkiness and clearly an effort to reward certain pet projects. And when you think about what they were trying to do with DEI, to shame anyone who is white, because if you're white, that's part of the problem. Basically, what they were trying to do is strip down the meritocracy that we have always been. Like, it's kind of twisted, but if you see color, you're racist. If you don't see color, you're racist. So go figure, like basically everybody's a racist, right? Like that's where they're coming from. And there's a lot of really angry people that buy into this and say, you know what? Certain groups have never had a chance. Look, I don't dispute that people grow up in different circumstances, but you can't fix everything after the fact. The idea is you got to go back to the beginning, okay? Think about it, guys. I've told you this story, right? Because of my musical background. I always thought it's really just a wonderful example of how we are a meritocracy. Orchestra auditions. If you audition for the New York Philharmonic, you still get to audition behind a screen. They don't know who you are. They don't know how old you are. They don't know if you're male or female. When I was at a conservatory, my first year, I had a friend. She was about 17 years old, 18 years old. She actually left the conservatory because she got a gig as the flutist, however you say it, at the Philadelphia Philharmonic. She's like 17 years old. It was a big job, right? And she said to me, gosh, if they'd ever seen me, they would have never given it to me. But isn't that the beauty of having a system that doesn't choose people based on gender or race, for goodness sakes? Well, you can imagine the New York Times, the LA Times, they've been writing article after article about how we have to get rid of those curtain auditions at orchestras because we don't have enough representation of Black Americans in orchestras. To which I say, you're not going to fix it by trying to make the lead violinist, first violin, somebody who just fits a whole bunch of boxes, checks the boxes. That's not going to fix it, guys. You're just going to make, the New York Philharmonic not be as good, right? If they can't play the tune, if they can't play the violin as well as somebody else, then why would you give them the job? Except we have to correct for past wrongs. No, the answer is you fix it. At the lowest level, you go back to when that kid's 3 years old. You start giving violin lessons at 3 years old. You make sure there's 2 parents in a home. You incentivize all the good stuff, okay? You don't fix it after the fact with handouts. These people, they were getting the handouts, for goodness sakes. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It has to stop, and it is stopping. Take a look. This is another one, okay? The Department of Education funded propaganda, this thing called Equity Express, and they were trying to recruit coaches in men and women's sports that were, quote, anti-oppressive coaches. Again, your taxpayer money is going to this stuff, this crap, right? As Caroline said the other day, it really is. We could call it something else. I won't. And avoid reinforcing values like masculinity and muscular Christianity. Whatever that is. Apparently, if you exclude trans women, you're valuing masculinity and muscular Christianity. Excluding trans women, they said, hurts all women. And they even had like a little diagram for it. How do you like this? This is the Equity Express. Otherwise known as the highway to hell. How do you like this? Coach 1. So this is sort of like what you're supposed to say. Coach 1 is being asked, by a parent, hey, it's not fair. Kate, who is really Joe, is a boy and shouldn't even be here. Our real daughters don't stand a chance. To which Coach 1 might say, well, I agree with you. It's not fair, but it's not my choice. Blame the Secretary of Education and his policy. Okay, that's a big X. You're not supposed to say that. Coach 2 might say, I know, I agree with you. I'm all for supporting people's rights, but just make a transgender-only competition. Coach 2, you're out too. They want you to know what the right response is. I mean, they've even got a poster for it, right? Equity Express, a.k.a. Highway to Hell. My word's not theirs. Coach response 3. This is the guy who's supposed to get the gig, or gal. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not a guy or a gal. Maybe it's something else entirely, because gender apparently doesn't matter. There is no way for a woman's body to be. Plus, transgender athletes' bodies vary in athletic ability just as cisgender, oh my God, we're going through with that terminology, athletes' bodies do. Including transgender athletes promotes values of non-discrimination and inclusion among all student athletes. And I am glad to be a part of that. Well, guess what, little Equity Express? You're gone too. Gone. And I want the money back. American taxpayers deserve our money back. I'm thinking clawback. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Donald Trump signing that bill just the other day with all those little girls surrounding him. This is just a really sweet moment.
You want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay?
I know it's hard to hear
What a
him,
nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You
but it's a
ready? We'll do
really
good
beautiful
job. Wait, let me
picture.
press that.
It's just a beautiful picture to see. Standing up for girls, standing up for women, standing up for women's sports.